Okay, we have kind of an unusual situation in the backcountry right now. It's late November in southeast Wyoming. There's not a lot of snow on the ground, and as you can see, all the creeks are frozen, and they're frozen pretty solid. There's 4 to 6 inches of ice over whatever trickle of running water is underneath here. So when we're looking at trying to gather water in a situation like this, it can be really challenging. Obviously, if we have some snow, there's a snowbank behind us, we can use that snow and melt it and create drinkable water out of that. But if we don't have snow, and as we go up the trail, there's less snow on the ground, then you're stuck with 2 options. One, accessing the water that's below the ice, or breaking apart the ice somehow and melting those ice chunks. Now you can use a sharp tool. I have a 13-ounce ice climbing axe right here, and you can use this or a combination of the hammer and a tent stake or an ice pick or a center punch or something like that to break chunks of ice out. That's a time-consuming task, and it requires a bit of fuel energy, obviously, and time to melt that ice into drinkable water. Plus, it's kind of just, it's not a particularly efficient task. So we can see here, I mean, a couple of whacks and we get some real small chunks of ice, but this is something that's going to take a bit of time. So we're going to try something new here, and it involves the use of an ice climbing screw and a siphon pump. And this particular ice climbing screw weighs about 4 ounces. It is a titanium screw made by a Russian manufacturer. So they're a little bit lighter than the steel screws that you can buy in US and European climbing stores. So we're gonna use that ice screw to bore down through the ice into the water that's below the ice. And then we're gonna use this suction pump, which basically consists of a plastic tube, a pump valve right here, and then there's a pump right here, and then there's a one-way valve in here that allows the water to be discharged into our container. You can get these in aquarium stores. This one's very light, it's 1.7 ounces. They're used to change water out of fish tanks and aquariums. So let's give it a shot. We'll go ahead and pick a spot right here. You can see the top layers of that ice are pretty brittle, and they're actually starting to crack a little bit. And as you make the hole, you can see the ice coming up through the top of the screw tube there. I will say this, the titanium screws require a bit more effort to screw in than steel screws, but they tend to be a little bit cheaper and definitely a few ounces lighter. So you can see we still have not hit water, and we are almost 4 inches down. So we can't really tell if we've hit water or not. Sometimes when you hit water, it'll come out the top of the screw. But we'll pull it out. And usually it will relieve enough pressure that once you remove the screw, water will start to seep out of the hole. And it's solid all the way down. So we're gonna have to pick a different location. There's no water in that one. It's kind of like drilling for oil. Let's try another spot up here. All right, that's 2 strikes. So we'll find another spot in the stream. Maybe we'll try a little steeper section where we're more confident that water is rolling, or we'll head upstream a little bit. All right, the ice still looks pretty thick here, but there's definitely more water flowing over this little rise. So we will try again. And this time I'm going to use a steel screw, and you'll see how much easier that is to screw in than the titanium screw. See, the steel I can operate with one hand. The titanium one I had to use 2 hands. Well, let's see if we hit water. Nothing. Dry well. Okay, we walked upstream a little bit, found a little bit deeper pool, and there is a thin film of water running across the top. And I think it's probably been too cold to actually melt this ice today, so my guess is that this thin film of water is seeping up from somewhere, and so my theory is that this will be someplace where we can access some water. So let's give it a shot. No way. Oh, I see water coming up. Okay, so we did reach water. It's not a gusher, but let's see if we can get water out of here. So we'll take the end of our aquarium pump, put it down in that hole. No, that one's producing water. Okay. So we'll try it. Okay, so this one, our first hole produced a little bit of water, but not much. This one looks to be producing a little bit more, so let's try it. Okay, we've got some water now. Had to prime the pump a little bit and make sure the intake was at the right level. And then we lost it. Shoot. There we go. So the key is just trying to play with it so that that intake is at the right level in the well. If it's too deep, you'll plug the intake. If it's too shallow, the well won't fill up fast enough. So once you figure it out, it goes pretty quick. And we got a full cup of water. So getting 2 liters out of this once you figure out the operation of the pump, then 2 liters will go pretty quick, probably about 5 to 10 minutes. So this beats hacking ice chunks out of the ice and then trying to melt it. Obviously there's 1.5 ounces of weight with the pump. There's another 4 to 6 ounces with an ice screw. So you're adding, 6 to 8 ounces of gear to get water out of a creek like this. And there's an argument that could be made, you could carry that weight in fuel, but you'll save time by doing this. And so again, this is kind of a unique context. We have cold temperatures. It was in the single digits last night. No snow on the ground because we're still early season and a fairly low elevation. We're only at about 8,000 feet here, and it's a dry winter. So this is one of those unique situations where you have to be a little bit creative about how you get your water. Thanks for watching.